The architecture of the application plays a very important role. Before even starting the actual development, we always make a plan for the architecture of this application. We generally make a plan how many layers will be there in this application, how these layers will communicate with each other, etc. And dependency injection plays a very important role in the communication in between these layers. Let's learn the concept of dependency injection in ASP.NET Core Web API. In any web application, we generally have these three layers. In the first layer, we have the controllers. These controllers have all the public methods, and these public methods are exposed to the client. Then behind these controllers, we have one repository level. In this repository layer, we always write our logic, our code. Then at the end, we have the database. Now, when a request comes from the client, then it always comes at the controller level. If everything is fine at the controller level, then the request goes to the repository. Once the request is in the repository, then it will make the operation in the database. It will fetch or save the data from the database, and it will return the response to the controller. The controller generates the response and it always sends it to the client. This is only a very basic example that we have in any application. Beside this repository and the database, we also have some other services in the application. For example, we are having an logger service, or we also have an email sender service. At this point, you can treat them as a component of the application. For example, the controller is a separate component, the repository is a separate component, the email sender service is a separate component, and the logger service is also a separate component. Now we have to make the communication in between these components, and there are two ways to do that. Here is the first way to use the repository. For example, here on the left side I have the home controller, and here on the right side I have an email sender. The email sender service is a class and it has all the methods that are required to send an email. Now I want to use this email sender service in this home controller. So what we will do, we generally create a new instance of this email sender by using the new keyword, and by using the name of the object, we call all the methods or properties and we send the email. This was the first way. In the similar manner, let's say we are using some repositories in this application and I want to use some repository in the controller level. Then we generally create a new instance of that repository by using the new keyword, and we can call all the methods that are available in the repository. If we are creating the instance of the services by using the new keyword, then there are few drawbacks. The first one is that we are making a tight coupling in between this controller and the email. In future, let's say we have to make some changes in this email sender. Let's say instead of using the current email sender, we want to have some third-party email sender. Then we are forced to make changes in all the controllers, and that will make the bad architecture for the application. Creating the instance by using the new keyword also makes some problem in the unit test. For example, you are using a service in the controller and you want to write some unit test for the controller. If you are using the new keyword, then you will be in trouble. Now let's learn how can we overcome from this problem. And the name of that approach is dependency injection. Let's learn how it works. Let's say in an application I have 3 controllers and I have 3 services. The name of the services are repository A, B and C. Now I want to use these repositories directly in the controller. If you are using the first approach, then you can simply create the instance of the repository by using the new keyword, but here we will talk about the dependency injection. And in the concept of dependency injection, we need to create the interface for each services. Let's say we have 3 services, so we have to create 3 interfaces for all these 3 services, and these services will implement the interface correspondingly. Now we have the interface, we have the repository and we have the controller. It is time to use these services in the controller, and this time instead of creating the instance of the repository, we will use the interfaces like this. Now if you are using the interfaces in the controller to work with the services, then the controller will never know about the implementation of these interfaces. In this situation, the controllers are completely unaware about the implementation of these services. All they know about is the interfaces. Now in the controller file, we will create the type of interfaces and we will also call the method by using the type of this interface. At this point, you might have a question in your mind like how the application will come to know about which interface is implemented by which class. And the answer to the question is container. There will always be one more place in the application where we will define which interface is implemented by which class, but that place will always be at some other place than the controllers. Using the dependency injection in ASP.NET Core is super easy because this ASP.NET Core framework has an built-in container. It means there is no need to install any third-party library to implement the dependency injection in ASP.NET Core. Now let's talk about what are the benefits if you are using the dependency injection. The main concept behind dependency injection is inversion of control, and as per the concept of IOC or inversion of control, we need to make our code loosely coupled. If you are aware about the solid principles, then in solid principles the D stands for dependency injection. If you are creating the instances by using the dependency injection, then it is very easy to write the unit test cases. Now let's talk about how can we configure the dependency injection in ASP.NET Core Web API. The ASP.NET Core framework provides the built-in support for dependency injection. As we have already discussed that we need to register all the dependencies in the container, and in ASP.NET Core the container is iService provider. So by using this iService provider container, we have to register all the services and then we are free to use these services anywhere in this application. As per the architecture of ASP.NET Core Web application, we register all the services in the configure services method of the startup class. Now let's see how can we define the lifetime of the services because we are defining them outside the controller file. In ASP.NET Core Web application, we can define 3 lifetimes for the services. First is singleton, second is scoped, and third is transient. Let's learn about all these methods one by one.